Have you ever choked under pressure? A friend of mine, when he had to give the best man speech at a wedding, was so nervous that he forgot the name of the groom. He had a total mind blank. The guest was so uncomfortable that he was absolutely dying from embarrassment. He tried to cover it up by having a swig of his drink, but this only made it worse because when he did finally come out with a name, he used the bride's ex-boyfriend's name by accident. The guy really did choke under pressure. This is an example of a psychological consequence of stress. Psychologically, stress can impair someone's performance on a task. This type of performance impairment often occurs as a result of elevated self-consciousness that interferes with the individual's attention on the task, especially when the stakes are high and it's really important that you do well on the task. We sometimes call this type of performance impairment choking under pressure. Some athletes have a reputation for choking under pressure. Greg Norman used to choke under pressure playing golf, and Leighton Hewitt used to choke under pressure a bit when playing tennis. In tennis, you often see players choke under pressure when playing for the match point. This can be very interesting and exciting to watch as a spectator. The idea here is that under some circumstances, particularly stressful events, people become more aware of what they're doing, and this elevated sense of self-awareness interferes with their attention, which makes it harder for them to perform the necessary behaviours. Another problem relating to performance impairment is that it's hard for people to control their competing thoughts. For example, for a tennis player during a big match, they might have a lot of competing thoughts. They might be thinking about the different shots they should be playing, how they should be serving, and what their strategy is. Then they might be thinking about winning and what that will mean. These thoughts about winning the game are not going to help them do well in the game. It's likely that these competing thoughts are going to undermine their performance. Now, prolonged unresolved stress can lead to chronic psychological consequences that we call burnout. This is often seen in people with jobs that are stressful and who are not managing or coping with the stress. Stress-related leave is one of the biggest financial burdens on organisations. It results in a lot of lost hours. The negative effects for people who burn out include things like a loss of self-efficacy and confidence, which can make it difficult for them to return to the workplace. Burnout is a real problem and it's basically due to unresolved stress.